Hi, it's Teresa from MusicReadingSavant.com, and today I'm going to help you understand music rests and what are the relationship between each of the different types of rests that we have. So as a quick review, a rest in music indicates silence. It's just as important as a music note. So music is composed of both sound and silence, and that silence is equally as important as what the sound is that we hear. So over here on the left hand side we see these different types of rests that we read and what each of their values are. So a whole rest is worth 4 counts, and if I were to divide that whole note down or break it into 2 parts, I have 2 half rests. So this is worth 4 counts, this is worth 2 plus 2. And you can see that each of these can be divided down even further. So a half rest can be divided down into 2 quarter rests. 1 quarter rest can be divided down into 2 eighth rests. And then 1 eighth rest is divided down into 2 16th rests. So you can see how we're using a little bit of division when we look at the whole rest, and we keep dividing it down into different parts, and you can understand now what the relationship is between the rests and why we have them in the first place, or where they came from. And that's kind of important. It gives a little bit more meaning to you when you are looking at your music and reading it. Over here on the right, it's explaining the dot rule. So if I have a dot next to one of these rests, I need to understand what that dot means. And the dot rule says that we add half the value of the rest to the rest. So if I have a dotted half rest, I need to know what is half of a half rest. Well, it's 1 quarter rest. So the dot equals a quarter rest. Now I'm going to add that dot or the quarter rest back to the half rest. So I have 2 plus 1, which equals 3. Now I know that a dotted half rest equals 3 counts. So that's something to keep in mind when we get into things where we have dots and we're adding them to those rests and understanding what that means. So I hope this helps give you an understanding of the relationship between the rests and their actual values. So we just use a little bit of math and you can see how they can be divided down into smaller parts and how many of those parts that we need in order to equal the whole. I hope this helps. Thanks so much for joining me. See you next time. Bye.